there's three approaches to value when you're talking about assessing the value of property: the sales comparison approach, the cost approach, and the income approach. In most cases, we would use the sales comparison approach. One of the biggest differences is that we do it based on January 1st of every year. That's our effective date of valuation.
And so how is the property assessed? Like, let's just use maybe my house as an example, right?
Right.
Obviously, it's public record what I paid for my house. Is it based on that? How do you guys find the value of somebody's home?
Well, there's three approaches to value when you're talking about assessing the value of property: the sales comparison approach, the cost approach, and the income approach. So the sales comparison approach, in your example for a single family home, in most cases we would use the sales comparison approach, which is the same as a fee appraiser or a private appraiser would use in case of, you were taking out a loan on your property, or you're buying a piece of property, what have you, trying to figure out what the value is. So the approach from that standpoint is you're going to compare sales of like properties, comparables within a neighborhood, and then that gives you an idea of what the value of the property may be. Now, the difference with us is we're in a mass appraisal world: 570,000 properties, maybe 300,000 or so that are homesteaded properties that homeowners have. So in that case, it's a little bit different than that we're using raw square footage, sort of a 40,000 foot view, and a larger a group of comparables within a neighborhood, whereas a fee appraiser or a private appraiser picks out, say, three comparables in the neighborhood. It's a much more granular. They're in the home. They're looking, okay, this one has granite countertops, this one does not. So it's a more of a forensic kind of view of the value. The approach is the same. Now, the income approach is for income producing properties, obviously. And the cost approach is literally the cost of replacement of the structures or the buildings on a piece of property, new minus depreciation, then you add in the land value. So the approaches are the same. One of the biggest differences is that we do it based on January 1st of every year. That's our effective date of valuation. The reason being, you want to know that if we live next to each other, that my house is being valued the same day as your house for the purposes of property taxes.
So it's not based on the sale.
No, not on the individual sale. Now, ultimately, that sale price will go into the paella that ends up being at some point, maybe the next year, when we're looking at a house that sold down the street, your sale will be added into that mix. But the cost of your individual sale, we'll consider that, and we're gonna look at it. So when a house sells or you sell a home, we're going to verify that sale, so make sure that it was an arm's length transaction, and those kinds of things to make sure, because maybe somebody paid if the sale was, somebody came down and it was their homestead when they were a kid, so they paid $200,000 more than it may be worth. We're going to look at it and say, well, why is the case?
Our furniture was included in the sale.
Whatever, right? We verify all the sales each year, so then we can kind of throw them into the mix for the overall when we're considering sales in the future. But the individual sale price is not. So if you bought a house for $1.2 million, your taxes aren't going to be exactly based on $1.2 million. And to that end, there's also things that go into the ultimate price of the sale that are costs of sale that are not value in nature. So certain fees, realtors' fees, things like that are part of that sale that may actually not be actual value. So we back. The state allows us, in fact, requires us to back that out of the ultimate valuation. So that's why generally that, along with the fact that it's based on January 1st, the sale could have taken place in September of that year, kind of is part of the reason that when you look at our values, in most cases they should be below actual market value. We always tell people, take a look at the value you have for the purposes of property taxes, and then ask your favorite realtor, Garrett Greco, would you list that property at that amount? And generally, we're 15, 20, 25% lower than what it would sell for on the market, open market.
Hey guys, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, click right here. Make sure to subscribe by clicking right here. Thank you for watching.